So let me say this to you. Let me say this to you.
Yeah.
My friends, who you are Christian, you're Jewish, you're Muslim, you're 7-day, you're LDS, you're Buddhist. Tell me what religion you hear this being said by only. Tell me when's the last time you hear Christians saying on anything and it's a chant at a church.
As Muslims, we felt highly disappointed by the recent podcast put out there by Patric Bet David. If there's one thing the video proved, it is the fact that Patrick harbors hatred for Islam, even though he has zero reasons for that. We used to think this man was fair and will give everyone a platform to defend their beliefs. Someone even said, immediately after the podcast, the religious roundtable or something like that, I have to give credit to Patric Bet David. He showed all the characteristics of a good host: neutral, asks good questions, good listener, gives everyone a chance to speak, does not cut off anyone. This is what we used to think before. But the fact is, we were all wrong. Thanks to this Hindu woman who exposed the Islamophobe Patric Bet David. Before going into details of the video where he exposed his hypocrisy, allow me to give you the context why we think this man is nothing but fair and just. You see, Patric Bet David few months ago did one thing a lot of people with big platforms would not. He hosted a religious roundtable where he invited the renowned Islamophobe Robert Spencer and the acclaimed ex-Muslim brother Rashid, who is also a hardcore Islamophobe, to face off with two other Muslim brothers, Brother Daniel Hakikatu and Brother Jake. Doing this alone made him gain lots of respect from the Muslim community and lots of following. You see, this face-off exposed the hypocrisy, the lies and hatred these two Christian individuals have for Islam. It ruined their decades of preaching against Islam and books they've written demonizing Islam. These two individuals literally shoved the Bible under the bus when Christianity was put to the test. It was so bad that we saw comments like this. I come from a Christian background and I was raised in an Orthodox household. Robert and Rashid did no service defending Christianity. When Patrick was asked, who or what is the enemy of Christianity? The answer they provided was quite pathetic, if I'm being brutally honest. I felt like they were representing liberal secularism more than the religion itself. This one said, as a Christian, it was hard to watch this debate. Instead of having a civil discussion on things like Trinity versus Tawheed, comparison and differences between the Quran and the Bible, and the complex history between Islam and Christianity, these Christians used the podcast to go on an emotional anti-rant. Robert Spencer seen how much he has fumbled and in addition put his fans to shame for not being able to defend his daily rantings about Islam. He tried saving the day by making this tweet. He said, watch for Patric Bet David to convert to Islam soon. When the Islamic apologists on his show defended people for exercising their freedom of conscience, he should have understood what he was dealing with. Instead, he babbled on about building bridges and went on the Dean show with the hate, blah, 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 Eddie right after, in other words, right after the show. PBD is infatuated with Islam. You know, this is quite pathetic. This is how losers behave to save face. Robert is trying to put the blame on Patric Bet David for his bad performance, really bad performance. He continued and said, this is understandable given the wholesome moral collapse in the West and the fact that deep and widespread corruption has spread into the churches. But he should have realized that one enslavement to tyranny and lies is no cure for another. And this is where it gets really interesting. He further said, he is getting played expertly by the Dawa boys. And he has no idea that this is being done to him. What a clever way to evade taking any blame for a bad performance. But guess what? The very first comment on the tweet is that of Tristan Tate, who himself is a Christian. He said, he gave you a platform and you fumbled. This tweet is a bad look. Praying for you. And what further convinced us about Patrick was the response he gave Robert. He said, you sound bitter, upset and frustrated. You are given an opportunity to come discuss the differences between Islam and Christianity. They seemed prepared with pointed questions to ask you while you seemed defensive. Being upset with your performance is understandable. Again, Patric Bet David even promised to have these kinds of debates in the future.
Thank you very much. Anytime, guys. Thank you again for being respectful and being a sport about it. This was fantastic. Hopefully in the future we'll do many more of these again. Gang, for those of you that watched it, I hope you appreciated this conversation. as much as I did. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll do this again next week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye.
However, everything changed. 6 months gone now, and this man keeps hosting Islamophobes back to back, who come onto his show and promote Christianity while demonizing Islam with no Muslim to defend Islam. Patrick, this isn't what you promised us.
It's plug that I can make, for Muhammad Hijab. Because Muhammad Hijab, you talked to him and Eddie, and they facilitated this. So I really hope that you have Muhammad Hijab on here, because he's really a amazing Muslim public intellectual, and he'd be, you have a great conversation, inshallah.
I would love to have a very influential gentleman like Muhammad Hijab, one from the Jewish community and one from the Christian community, for all of us to have a conversation together. I realize 2 hours is not enough, 2.5 hours is not enough. I think that may be 3-4 hours, but we'll figure something out.
It's obvious you are doing this to fix the damage your channel has caused Christianity. And now with the recent video, it is now clear that the roundtable discussion was aimed to expose Islam and put it under the bus. How can you explain this, Patric Bet David?
Okay, the first one, not the second one. Yeah. Well, watch this here. Tell me if this is healthy. Yeah. Go ahead, Rob.
Patel. I'm here to speak in support of the City Council introducing a ceasefire resolution, specifically the one United Liberation Front has drafted. I don't have faith that you'll do this. You guys are all horrible human beings, and Jesus probably would have himself. And I hope one day somebody brings the guillotine and all of you motherfuckers.
No, that's not the main threat, though. This is coming right now.
No need other than you don't like when people come and hold you guys accountable for introducing ceasefire resolutions. The only escalation in violence has been by you all, and so there's no need to continue. In the last 5 years I've attended city council meetings, there's never been metal detectors, there's never been more cops. The only reason you're doing it is because people actually don't care if you guys don't like them, and they're actually resisting, so you want to criminalize them. So regardless of whether you elect people into office, they'll backstab you, they'll let you die, and for that reason you guys want to criminalize us with metal detectors. We'll see you at your house. We'll murder you.
Boom. Okay, now watch this. Right. Okay.
Next speaker.
Well, like, so this lady in the left, PBD, the lady in the left right now grabs that cop. See the councilwoman all the way in the left? She goes, hey, grab her. That's a threat. And look what the judge, the head cop.
Ms. Patel?
Yep.
Ms. Patel?
Yep.
That was a threat.
Boom. Done.
What you said at the end. And so the officers are going to escort you out and take care of it.
Good for you, Bakersfield. Now go to the next video showing how she reacts to it. Watch this.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Death, murder people. Free speech with consequences.
A deputy public defender entered.
No, but PBD, she has 18 felonies, and she's held on a $1 million bond. So for everybody, I'm 100% free speech. Say whatever you want. Death to America. Murder you in your homes. But you can have it, but it comes with consequences. So good for her. Good for her.
Meanwhile, these ignoramuses think she is a Muslim. She clearly isn't. The hate they have for Islam made them blind to the fact that she said they practice a Hindu holiday called Chaitra Navratri.
You guys parade Gandhi around as a Hindu holiday called Chaitra Navratri. It starts off this week. I remind you that these holidays that we practice, that other people in the global south practice, believe in violent revolution against their oppressors.
Which Muslim does this, please? Which Muslim? Someone might say, well, I don't think they think she is a Muslim. Well, you clearly hear one of the clowns say, did she say Allahu Akbar?
Deputy public defender entered.
She yelled Allah Akbar before
And this was played right after this video.
So let me say this to you. Let me say this to you. Yeah. My friends, who you are Christian, you're Jewish, you're Muslim, you're 7-day, you're LDS, you're Buddhist. Tell me what religion you hear this being said by only. Tell me when's the last time you hear Christians saying death upon anything and it's a chant at a church. But why is this a normal thing to be said from the other side and you don't dispute it and think this? As a child who was raised in Iran, I saw this over and over again. Patric Bet David, death upon America. Now that's okay to say in America. Can you go to the other guy, the lady that goes to the mayor? Let me read the story because it kind of goes with it.
Yeah, perfect.
For me here, anti-Israel protester charged with threats against California mayor. City council member says, it says to city council, to the mayor, will murder you.
So the video of this Hindu woman was to prove one thing, that Islam is the only religion that does these things. At the end of the day, it backfired really bad. The Islamophobe Patric Bet David alongside his goons should now be ashamed of themselves. I really have nothing more to say but allow you watch the message of Brother Jake, who is one of those that represented the Muslims in the roundtable discussion, or you can call it debate.
I'd still be happy to come on your show and tell you exactly what I'm saying right here, right now to your face. And we can have a discussion, a healthy debate about it. Because you love to talk about Muslims when they're not around. You love to say these kind of things on your show when no Muslim is there to actually defend ourselves and correct you on your foolishness. So if you would afford us the opportunity, then we'd be happy to do so. And it doesn't have to be me, but somebody competent. But I doubt that you'll do it. Because last time when we got 1.5 million hits on the last one, where you yourself admitted that the Christian side did terrible and the Muslims came out and looked victorious and dominant, you don't want to do that. You don't want to display that on your channel. So even though after having that debate and hosting it, you said, oh yeah, we'd look forward to having more like this. You haven't had any since then. And part of the reason is because your plan to make Islam and Muslims look bad and throw us under the bus backfired and didn't work because you weren't ready. You didn't do your proper research on Daniel Hakikachu. You didn't do your proper research on Jake Brancatello, the Muslim metaphysician. You had no idea what you were dealing with. You thought that you were going to pull one over on us, that it was going to be a parade where you just bashed Islam and Muslims and we were on the back foot the whole time and looked stupid and silly. But it didn't happen. The opposite happened, Pat. And you had to come out publicly and even say yourself that, wow, Robert Spencer, you look upset because you weren't prepared and you didn't do a good job. Well, why don't you take some advice that you gave to Robert Spencer and prepare more yourself? And before you play clips like this and claim that this person is associated with Islam and Muslims, you do a bit more research instead of making yourself look like a buffoon and a fool.
Well, with this I say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Catch you in the next one.